This is every single Lego Hobbit and Lego Lord of the Rings set there is, and we are going to take a look at all of them. Plus, there are a few custom builds. We're going to go through them in book/movie order, starting with the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and Return of the King. Then we will end off with the Hobbit. Let's take a quick glance at everything all at once, and then we will get in more specifically of what is actually here. So here is Sauron from the prologue. And now this Bagend is technically a Hobbit set, but I thought it's perfect to set off the beginning of this, the Shire, the beginning of the journey where Frodo, come on, you gotta stand up, Frodo, kind of headed on his adventure. It all started in Bagend. Frodo's journey ended up taking him to Weathertop, where he met a few nasty Nazgul, which hastily got him to Rivendell, and that is where the Fellowship was born. Now this seems like a good time to show that all the minifigures are over here, so you may not see too many of them when I'm showing off the exact sets, and that's because they are all gathered here in their own nifty little collection. There's the Orc Forge, which lays under the Tower of Orthanc, and inside the Tower of Orthanc is the Wizarding Duel, which was a little set, kind of funny. They made two Tower of Orthanc sets. And then we got the Mines of Moria with the Cave Troll, Helm's Deep, which is actually mighty big. It is, probably has one of the biggest presents here on the table. That's the footprint is just so big. And one other note is technically this wall piece was a different Lego set, but I won't be sharing that separately. I'll just kind of combine it all as Helm's Deep. And then these are kind of the Return of the King Lego sets with two black gates combined together and an Ollie font, which is a custom build, Shelob down here, and a pirate ship. So now we're going to take a look at each Lego set individually. And ironically enough, we're starting with a non-official Lego set. So this is a custom build. I found some instructions online for this Sauron build, and I thought it was pretty great. Now it is missing a few pieces that I do need to put together because custom build, just kind of getting all the pieces off Bricklink. But overall, the way the person did the armor and put it all together using all the Batman stuff made it look really nice. And the Sauron handle looks great, but as you can see, one of the problems is it's really fragile. Just a display set. But we started out by showing this one because it's Sauron kind of in the prologue form and his physical form when he had the One Ring in his power and was controlling armies and legions. Another great part of this build is the small little details like the crown, the throne, and even on the backside, an elven sword. And here we go, an official Lord of the Rings Lego set. So this is Gandalf's Arrival with Shire Frodo. And Gandalf, who arrives with a bunch of fireworks. And now the rest of the fireworks, I honestly don't know where they are, but this was the first Lord of the Rings Lego set I owned. I bought this one personally at Walmart. Well, I think I technically got Gandalf's Arrival and the Shelob set at the same time, but we will take a look at the Shelob a little bit later. And staying in the Shire, this is Bagend, where Frodo and Bilbo both live. So technically this set came out with the Hobbit line, which you can see a few references to Bilbo's adventure right here. We got Bilbo's book there and back again, and then the maps to Smog. Overall, it's a very simple but elegant build. I've seen a lot of other takes/builds online of Bagend, but interestingly enough, none of them I like as much as this Bagend build. Like the front of it looks really nice, dandy, like a happy place. The other builds seem to have overdone it on foliage, but this one, because it's just green with light foliage, it's my style and the way I would have personally built a Bagend if I was building one on my own. Next up is Weathertop, which was a great set because of all the minifigures it came with. So it didn't come with all of these. It came with Frodo, Merry, Aragorn, and 2 ring wraiths with their custom horses. Though personally, I do feel like the build of Weathertop is a tad bit small, but still, it's quite a presence. It's not too shabby, and especially the circular fixture of this. Like, look at that, the circularness was really well done. I love it. It's able to open up and you have some access to the inside, with a little bit of playability. Right here, you're able to press these triggers. Well, flick these, and out on the other side are some hidden booby traps. Now there is one more booby trap that might be able to save Frodo. So back here, there's a little lever, and if you pull it out, boom, the ring race no longer can get him unless they jumped down the trap hole too. They were able to pack a lot into this set with all the great unique minifigures, especially because it's the only set that Merry comes in. So unique figures right there, but also the ring race only in this set. And then when we add Pippin and Sam, it feels very complete. Frodo's next stop was Rivendell. And who lives in Rivendell? Éowyn and Elrond. So because Éowyn has this sort of old form Lego dress, she's only able to stand and sit in her seat like that. So of course Elrond's got to do the same thing and stand up in his seat. Gimli also came in this set because he had the bright idea that you might as well use your axe to destroy the ring, but the ring said no. For playability features, that's about all you get. Gimli getting thrown across, but I do like the sticker. Another great part of this set is that it's Rivendell, so it has a white color scheme, white and tan, versus most of the other Lord of the Rings sets, which is all kind of based in gray. So it kind of stands out. And the next one is Saruman versus Gandalf, the great wizard battle when Saruman kind of went evil and decided that they should join the dark side. But the dark side is always watching, and just take a look at Saruman's throne. It looks kind of evil, so no wonder why Saruman joined the dark side. Yeah, it looks kind of scary. Just surround yourself with good stuff and you might be off a little better. One of the features in this set is, say if Gandalf took Saruman's seat, then Saruman could use his magical powers to go and knock Gandalf off of the seat. Great. Oh, what? Gandalf, you have a scary head behind you. That's not gonna work. Okay. Only show your good side. Well, honestly, that's about it to the set. Is the not so working knocking off the throne, and then our eye is able to spin when we spin this knob back here. And now we go from one of the smallest sets to the biggest, the Tower of Orthanc. So let's just take a look at it compared to some of the other Legos sitting next to it. It has quite a presence. It's among one of my tallest Lego sets I own, but my absolute tallest is the Saturn V, and it towers over it by quite a bit. But we're not here for the Saturn V, so let's get that out of here. Yep, Saturn V in Disneyland. Anyways, here we go. A black tower. One of the two towers from the Two Towers movie. One of the best parts of the towers, if we turn it around, we have a full interior on the inside. Starting with a dungeon to an Uruk-hai training camp. And then up here is that room that we just took a look at. This one, but kind of miniature scale, but almost honestly, they're about the same size. And then up here is the blowing up explosives room. Because you can see in there, there's the workings of the bombs, which eventually go to Helm's Deep over there. So we'll get to that a little bit. But Saruman has his evil plans, and then there's a study with some artwork of the 5 wizards. So there's the 2 blue wizards, Radagast, Saruman, and then Gandalf the Grey, and the other wizard, which these 2 end wizards were not really mentioned in the movies. So it's kind of neat that this Lego set does have a reference to it. And then up here, it finally is a little armory with some weapons and tools. And look at this. We're able to pull down a little trapdoor gate, and boom, you have your ladder to reach the upper floor. And then this is the top of the tower where Gandalf gets trapped. But fortunately, Gandalf is saved by the eagles. And also included Treebeard. And he has a movable arm, so there's a little winch back here that we're able to make him wave his arm. Hello! Fun fact about Treebeard, after he takes over Isengard, he kind of just stays there, and the Tower of Orthanc and Isengard become his new home. And on Merry and Pippin's way home, they do come back to Isengard to visit Treebeard. Underneath Isengard had the orc forges, and here we have a bunch of gems that have been mined and some contraptions for managing all this ore. Come on, little orc, gotta dump it down your little trough. There you go. And then he has to also slide down the trough. Whee! Carry the bucket and place it onto the forge. And it's supposed to light up. If you press this button, all the flames are supposed to light up. There is a light up brick inside there, but it's ran out of battery. And finally, this is the place where the orc guy Lurtz was born. Well, if popping out of the earth can count as birth, then yep, this is where he was born / created. Lurtz is the leader of those Uruk-hai who chase down the Fellowship and ends up shooting Boromir with 3 arrows, but then Aragorn comes in and ends up defeating Lurtz. But Lurtz was that scary one. Yeah, well, all Uruk-hai are kind of scary. But Lurtz is extra scary because he took out my guy, Boromir. And that takes us to the Mines of Moria, which, interestingly enough, is the only set of a scene that included all the Fellowship. But don't get me wrong, this set didn't include the full Fellowship. It only came with Legolas, Pippin, Boromir, and either Aragorn or Gimli. And this was the only set that Pippin and Boromir came in. But the best figure, I would say, is the Cave Troll. He's an awesome big fig. A very custom Lego mold. There has never been a Lego piece done quite like this. He is very, very good, very awesome. One of my favorite figures ever. The Mines of Moria set is great because you can reenact with Boromir and Aragorn placing the axes to try to stop the Cave Troll from coming through, but the Cave Troll is inevitably going to come through because look at this guy. He's huge. But in the end, our heroes do come out on top. Now get in there, Pippin. You are a hero too. Even if Gandalf said, "Fool of a took," you still have great power, Pippin. And don't worry, they did not forget the skeleton and a well for him to fall down. And this Cave Troll is sure wreaking havoc. And just when you thought he was done, he still wrecks even more. So those pillars are supposed to fall. It's part of the features in the sets. So yeah, you can definitely end up having quite the destructive scene with this set. But it does come with a lot of gems because, you know, dwarves are big fans of treasure. And this is Helm's Deep. It's among the biggest of the Lego Lord of the Rings sets, but in retrospect, it kind of is kind of small. Here's the extra wall segment that was technically another set, but I put it on the Helm's Deep, and it makes Helm's Deep definitely look much bigger, but technically Helm's Deep is just the wall that explodes, and we had a little lever back here, and when we press it down, that bomb goes off. And now all the Uruk-hai are able to march right through and attack Helm's Deep. And then over here we got another place that we're able to launch Gimli off to take out the Uruk-hai. On the wall, there are some hatches that we are able to open up and throw some rocks out and then close it. We also got some launchers. The Uruk-hai can not only get in through the wall, but they can get in over the wall with their mighty tall ladders. He has fallen down into Helm's Deep, and apparently there are no soldiers down there to capture him. That's because, once again, they're all up there. The Uruk-hai have a launcher to attack Helm's Deep. Oops, I did the wrong thing. Let's throw it up. Yeah, they just smashed their own ladder. Whoopsies. The backside of this part of Helm's Deep isn't that good, but over here, this is kind of neat. We have the Rohirrim throne. Just like a little meal room for them all to hang out and enjoy life. But this side's kind of cool. We have a little door down here that we can get. And on the other side of this tower is just a ladder. But here is the box that Legolas gets Gimli. So that Gimli can stand on a box and see what's going on in the battlefield. Next one we'll take a look at is the Oliphant, because Frodo and Sam see the Oliphants traveling during the movie of the Two Towers, well, also the book. And so this is the custom build, and I found the instructions online. I hopefully should put the link of it in the description. And it's pretty awesome, just can kind of move around. Yeah. The elephant can move, the trunk also moves. The legs also move, but it really, I feel like there's only a couple poses that we're able to get it into. Like, we can have the elephant sit if we'd like, but it actually is standing up. I didn't think it would. So there we go, it's an attack position. It's actually kind of a cool pose. But yeah, that's where I was saying it sometimes can get a little unstable. Okay, let's fix that. And there we go, all put back together. Now the online builds do look pretty sweet, but they do tend to be fragile. These Haradrim minifigures I also custom made, kind of just took pieces apart and redid them. And then also some of these are custom bricks, like actually not Lego. So here's some unofficial Lego, but it does seem like good quality. And next up we have the pirate ships. This was only in a couple scenes in the movie, but nevertheless, it did look really neat. And Lego did a fantastic job of making it look awesome. Like it, well, at least looks good from the other side. Overall, it looks pretty good. Shield, spikes, things to make it look menacing. And even Jack Sparrow, he can never get away from pirate ships. Fun fact, this guy in the movie was played by the director, Peter Jackson. And it also comes with these 3 ghosts, which are very unique, awesome minifigures. And the ship has a jail cell right there. To access it, we just grab this sail, take it off, and look inside. Wait, what are you doing in there, R2-D2? The ship will set sail, and in comes the Black Gate. So I've taken and combined 2 of the Black Gate sets. So normally the Lego set is this big, and now that didn't feel quite right. I was like, okay, I have to have at least 2 of them, put them together, and it makes the Black Gate look way, way better. Like, that feels like the official Lego set that it should be, especially having the 2 little spirals on top. One other thing we could do is you are able to take off this, so we could do a smaller Black Gate, but even having the 2 spires like that feels right. But you could really get and buy as many or build as many of these gate sets as you want and just attach them together, and it would be, you could make it mighty big, mighty long. But the one thing I really would like to do is make it taller and bigger versus longer, because in minifigure scale, like, let's just put Frodo next to it. Frodo's still, well, he's kind of short, but in retrospect, the tower would be way, 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 way taller. On the back side, we are able to flip this lever and open the gate. And because this is just 2 of the same section, we can do that for this as well. And then boom, there we go. And we've got a little rock chucker right there. One more fun play feature is this lever right there. If we press it, out pops a trap hole. And this is where Frodo's able to sneak through. Hello! And here's Shelob. And it also came with Gollum, Frodo, and Sam. So Frodo, he gets stung by the Shelob, the evil spider. And you can see his face says so. He has been stung. So Sam fights Shelob, stabs her eye, and now she has been stabbed, and then cowers back into her hole. One of the cool things is it has a little web that you're able to kind of grab other stuff and kind of pull spider. Like, this is probably one of the scariest Lego spiders I've seen. Like, imagine if there was a real spider this big. Oh, that would be scary. And this set does have a little Gollum launcher. And these are the last of the Lord of the Rings sets. The little ballistic Orcai and Frodo's Shire cooking thing. And so I've left these in the poly bags because that is where they hold their value. If I was to take them out, they'd lose their value. And all the pieces inside the set are very basic pieces. So basically the packaging is what makes it worth it. And now the last thing are these 3-dimension sets with Gollum, Legolas, and Gimli. The only thing really unique about these 3 sets are their little blue base plates, which would work with the Dimensions video game. But this Gollum minifigure is unique to this set. That's the only way that you can get him. Even though we've taken a look at all the Lord of the Rings sets, we are not done because we have all the Hobbit sets to go through. We got a whole slew of them, and we're going to take a look at them because they're definitely still in the Middle-earth realm. First off, let's take a look at the poly bags. So the first one is Gandalf kind of going to Barad-dûr, just things with Gandalf. Second one is a Merkwood soldier with a tree and some wine. And then lastly, we have a Lake Town guard. So he's actually probably the most unique of them all, probably my favorite one with some shiny armor. But overall, once again, keeping them sealed because that's where they'll hold their value. Let's take a quick look at all the Hobbit sets, kind of in timeline order. So first off, once again, the story adventure starts off with Bagend. And then the next set of their adventure, even though a lot happens in between, is meeting the Goblin King and when Bilbo meets Gollum and gets the ring. And then they finally escape the cave, and there's the burning tree scene, and they're saved by the eagles while being attacked by the wargs and orcs. And then Gandalf splits off, and the dwarves kind of go on their own. So Gandalf heads to Dol Guldur, which is where the Sauron, or the Necromancer, was dwelling. And then over here is Merkwood. So the dwarves kind of travel through Merkwood and get captured by the Merkwood elves, which I'm currently building a whole little mock out of the pieces, out of the sets. So this is a little set, but there's a lot of sets kind of combined. And this one's going to be pretty massive, but I am very happy with how it's coming along. Looks very evil, scary, foresty. And they finally escape in the barrels and make it to Lake Town. And there's a couple sets right there. And then there is the old city of Durn, I think, and inside the cave of Smog. And that is all the sets. So now let's take a bigger dive into each set. We've taken a look at Bagend, but one thing that's very specific to this is the maps on the ground and Bilbo's book. So, but this is the map and journey of the dwarves. It has the Lonely Mountain on there. Now let's take a look at Thor and Oakenshield's company. So we got Bilbo, Gandalf, then Fili, Balin, Dwalin, Bombur, Gloin, Beaufort, then Ori, Oin, then Keely, Snorri, Ori, and Bifur. Here is Riddles in the Dark. It comes with Bilbo and Gollum. And I think the coolest thing about this set is that if you pop it out, the ring appears. So beyond that, there's not too many other features, about probably total of 30 pieces in the set, or 100, something like that. Next up, we got the Goblin King's Cave. So this will be a good time I'll kind of point out. Up here are the minifigures. So these 3 goblins come in the set, but I'm not going to show off every minifigure that comes in every set. So I'm hoping to do some other reviews where we'll take even a bigger look at each set and every minifigure that comes in it. So just stick around for that, other upcoming videos that we'll work on. Now this set has a lot of nifty features. First off, on the set, we have a button right here that if we press, down comes the bridge. And then on the back side, we have a little thing that we're able to tap and knock our ladder over. So the goblins definitely are prepared for intruders. This mining machine is able to swivel around and go up and down using some chain functionality. Doesn't have too much mobility, but it works very well. Moving on to the next thing is just another piece to kind of give oomph to the cave. One more of those pieces, but I like the little gold stickers and wood. And this one does have a rock launcher. Now, this guy is probably one of the best parts of the whole set. He looks intimidating and fat. Both good signs for having a Goblin King. And what is the Goblin King without the Goblin Throne? So there's a few different things on here. If we push something in the back, out pops some nifty little treasure. And then on this side, a lever to launch the cages that we can trap the dwarves in. And then beyond that, just lots of little knickknacks sitting on his throne. Now, get back there, buddy. Dol Guldur had 3 sets. 1, 2, and 3. So funny enough, this was one of the scenes that was kind of made up just for the movie. In the book, it does mention Gandalf going to Dol Guldur, but it doesn't explicitly say all the details. So all of the scenes that are shown in Dol Guldur didn't really happen in the book, but they kind of did. But the funny thing is that with all 3 of these sets combined, it becomes one of the biggest scenes / sets of the Hobbit line, which I think is kind of funny how one of the things that wasn't in the book became one of the biggest sets. I do want to mention I made a Lego animation of this set, so go check it out. Link in the description or in the card somewhere about. And now for Merkwood, which might be technically considered my biggest Lego build. So the first set that we have in here are these trees. So there's this tree and this little tree. And now this tree is actually technically a Harry Potter tree, but the tree set did come with 2 spiders. And so I've kind of just given it a little bit more of an environment, kind of dirty, murky, a Merkwood. That's kind of what it's supposed to be. I also built my own tree, gave it some spiders. And so that's the front face. Now, if you follow it up the path, you enter the gate, which will lead you into the Merkwood fortress, which I am currently working on. So this little wall with the fortress and the flying elves was one set, and I've combined 2 of them to give it a little bit more of a presence. And I've kind of custom built this with a bridge. Here's the bridge that would take you into the fortress, but we're still working on it. But down here is the river, and we have lots of rock faces, which have detail on all faces. Now, fun little Easter egg is there are 2 Pirates of the Caribbean sets down there, just hidden away, because I didn't have any room on my shelves, so I've tucked them away into a different set, just as a fun little Easter egg. And now we're going to come to the back side of the Merkwood build. So down here is going to be a training ground for the elves, and the rock face is a little bit icky. Now the pink stuff is all going to be hidden, don't worry, inside the rock wall once we've figured it out, get it all finished, polished up. And then up here is we're going to have a level where there's this trap door for the barrels to fall into the water. And we'll place this set right about there. Here's the barrel in action one more time. The dwarves floated away in those barrels over to Lake Town. Lake Town was all the men who were living on the lake, kind of trying to stay safe from smog. So we've got a few little features right here. If you open the door on this shack, it ends up dropping a little surprise. This also happens to be the tower with the crossbow and the mighty spike that was able to defeat Smog. We come over here with a little barrel to store up goods and ship away. And here on the other side of Lake Town, we got a few other fun contraptions, like the gate for this jail cell back there can pop off and the dwarves can escape once again. But my overall favorite part of this set is the overall architecture. I've placed the 2 sets on blue base plates just to give a little bit more of a lake feel, kind of city floating in the water, because that's what it is. And lastly, we have an awesome little boat. This is Bard's boat that is able to sneak the dwarves into the city. And this is just a fun style of boat. It kind of reminds me of Viking, but Lakeshore. It's a good little thing. And this is the city of Dale. It's kind of small, but I absolutely love the color scheme and architecture, and I would really love to make a giant city, like taking up this full space of Dale. That would be awesome. But overall, there's a few little things, like the walls are able to blow up. Come on, there we go, blows up. That is quite the destruction, but the reason it blows up is because There's a large spikes shot at it. And this is the city that the dragon Smog had taken over and kind of destroyed. So that is why it is all in ruins and no one lives in there. But during the Battle of the Five Armies, a lot of fighting happens in the city of Dale. And here we have inside of Erebor, the Lonely Mountain. And this is where Smog has taken over all the gold and treasure and the Arkenstone that Thorin is hoping to get. This set of the dwarven home, Erebor, has a few fun features of being able to work the mines and then also launch a cannon of gold at the evil dragon Smog. Smog is probably the best part of this set because he is the biggest Lego figure I've ever had. Just take a look at him. He's huge. Just the hand compared to Smog, giant. There's a few secret passages in and about. And then because Smog likes to send destruction everywhere, we also got destruction destroyed. So yeah, Smog, definitely an evil dragon. And that's every single Lord of the Rings and Hobbit set Lego has made.